Hi everyone, this is the lesson for Monday, May 18th and Tuesday, May 19th. Today we're going to be thinking about this question still. What rights and responsibilities should teens have? And in this part of the unit, we're talking about teens being able to vote. Today we're going to be identifying and evaluating different arguments about 16-year-olds getting the right to vote. So as a reminder, an argument in everyday life is when two people will disagree about something. Maybe they're going to yell at each other. They try to convince the other one that they are actually right. It's a similar idea in writing. When we're talking about an argument in writing, the writer has a strong opinion about a topic and they're trying to convince the reader to have the same opinion. The way they're going to create that argument is by having all of these parts of an argument that we looked at before. The first is the claim. The claim is a statement that the writer is trying to prove, and there is only one claim in an argument. Next, we have reasons. Reasons are why something is true, and there are 2 to 4 reasons in an argument. Below the reasons, we have evidence. Those are facts and numbers that clearly show that something is true. There are usually 2 to 4 pieces of evidence to support each reason. Explanation. The writer explains why each piece of evidence supports the reason or claim, and there is one explanation for each piece of evidence. Remember, each piece has to support the piece above it in order for it to be a strong argument. So if the evidence doesn't connect clearly to the reason, we're not creating a strong argument. Let's remind ourselves of evidence versus explanation because it can be confusing. Evidence is a fact, and it has to be information from another source, maybe a newspaper, a university study, an experiment, or somebody who's an expert on the topic. An explanation is in the author's own words, and it shows you how the evidence supports the reason and claim. So make sure you're making that distinction between evidence and the explanation of the evidence. Let's practice again. Is it evidence or explanation? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, only 12.5% of 18-year-olds participated in the 2014 midterm election, compared to 42% of the general population. If you said that it's evidence, you are correct because we can see the source. It's from the Census Bureau. We can see percentages with exact numbers, and that shows us that it's evidence. We don't see any language in here that's explaining something, explaining how it connects to somebody's reason. Next, if 18-year-olds aren't voting that often, 16-year-olds will definitely not be interested in voting. It would be pointless to give them that right. Is this evidence or explanation? If you said explanation, you are correct. We're seeing actually an explanation of the evidence from before. We do not see any fact or statistic from another source. This is the writer trying to explain why giving 16-year-olds the right to vote would not be a good idea. All right, let's review this article that you read last class. It was called 16, The Right Voting Age. We can tell just from the title alone what the claim of the article will be. So what is the claim of the article? The claim of the article is the voting age should be lowered to 16. Remember, the current voting age is 18. What reasons did they use to support this claim? Here are some of the reasons they used. Youths need the right to vote. Youths have the maturity needed to vote. Youths have political knowledge, and youths want to vote. Today, what you're going to be doing is identifying and evaluating arguments. There is a Google Forms in the classwork section for you to complete. You're going to be reading a short argument, and you're going to look for the claim, the reason, if the argument includes evidence, what an explanation is, and in your opinion, is that a strong argument? Why or why not? All of the arguments will be talking about 16-year-olds voting. So let's do one as an example together. Voting will create a good habit for teens. Getting out to vote is a habit. It seems like a no-brainer to let people start voting at a young age. These 16 and 17-year-olds could go to the polls with their parents or other adult figures. It could begin a lifetime of community engagement. Lowering the voting age is a worthy goal. Let's do it. So if they have to figure out, what is the claim? Is this person saying that the voting age should be lowered to 16, or are they saying it should not be lowered to 16? Well, I'm seeing this word, good habit, and I'm also seeing lowering the voting age is a worthy goal. So I know that this person supports lowering the voting age. So this person's claim is the voting age should be lowered to 16. Next, I want to know what the reason is. What is the reason they're talking about? You'll notice this also in your classwork for today. The reason is the title. This is the reason. Voting will create a good habit for teens. Does the argument have evidence? As I'm scanning through the article, do I see them mention another source? Do I see any numbers? I only see 16 and 17-year-olds, so that's not giving me a statistic about a percentage of things. So no, there is no evidence in this argument. This is solely the writer's opinion. What is one sentence that is an explanation here? Well, much of this is an explanation. Here is the explanation. These 16 and 17-year-olds could go to the polls with their parents or other adult figures. It could begin a lifetime of community engagement. So they're explaining why this will be a good habit for teens. Is this a strong argument? Why or why not? So I have to think, is it convincing me? And I don't think it is. No, this is not a strong argument because there is no evidence to support the claim or the reason. So when you're evaluating whether an argument is strong, you want to think, does it have all of the parts of an argument? And do all of those parts connect and support each other? Here, we have some of the parts, but we do not have evidence. I want you to try one by yourself. What is the claim? 16-year-olds are treated like adults in court. On the flip side, about 250,000 youth are tried, sentenced, or jailed as adults every year in the US. Whether they're contributing to society or being held accountable by society, they should be able to vote. They should be able to weigh in on the future of our country and the laws that affect them. Select now. What is the claim? Now identify, what is the reason? Does this argument have evidence? What is one sentence that is an explanation? Is this a strong argument? Why or why not? All right, that is exactly what you're going to be doing today. You're going to be completing the identifying and evaluating arguments practice in the classwork section, and you're going to go through that same process for 4 different arguments. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon.